Hi, my name is Melissa Garber, and my project is Read Flag. It's a browser extension that uses journalism practices as a conceptual framework for cultivating media literacy skills. So I'm assuming we all know what fake news is by now. So we're going to start by playing a quick game where I'll show you an excerpt, and you'll let me know if you think it's true news or fake news. So the first excerpt I'm about to show you was just published last week. In what experts are calling a breakthrough achievement that is poised to revolutionize American space exploration and telecommunications, NASA announced Friday it has successfully launched its first cordless satellite into orbit. So real quick, raise your hand if you think this excerpt is fake news. Yeah. So this is actually straight out of The Onion. So we can draw a pretty bright line around that and call it fake news. The next excerpt is from an article published in September 2005 about the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. At nightfall, heavily armed police and National Guard troops took positions on rooftops, scanning for snipers and armed mobs as seething crowds of refugees milled below, desperate to flee. Gunfire crackled in the distance. So raise your hand if you're positive this is fake news. All right. Raise your hand if you're positive this is true news. So now raise your hand if you're not sure if this is true or fake news. Yeah. So we probably want a little more context when we're trying to figure out if something we're reading is true or not, right? And we're not always going to know the answer, and that's okay. There are a lot of options out there right now to figure out if what you're reading is true or fake. Everyone has an algorithm that promises to weed out fake news for you, or the perfect self-help guide for readers to be able to spot fake news on their own. Facebook is even taking out ads in newspapers. But what I've been thinking is, how might we leverage crowdsourcing to combat fake news? Because why do we have to rely on traditional media outlets and tech companies to be the arbiters of what is and isn't true? Even fact-checking sites can be seen as highly politicized. By leveraging the crowd to collectively verify information, we can dissect the news and isolate what is questionable without labeling an otherwise factual article as fake news. So we're going to go back to the excerpt we read before, because we never decided if it was fake or not. It actually comes from an LA Times article, and I'd say it's questionable. Reports of snipers and armed mobs after Katrina were never substantiated, and media outlets got a lot of criticism for sensationalizing the aftermath of the storm. So this is where Read Flag comes in. Someone who wasn't in New Orleans during Katrina or wasn't keeping up with all of the different news coming out of the city might not realize how problematic that excerpt from the article is. With Read Flag, if you read something you find questionable or inaccurate, you install the extension, then highlight and right-click the content you want to flag so that you can create your own flag for other readers to see. When you create your flag, you provide not only a brief explanation why you're flagging something, but also you have to include at least one source to back up your claim. So for the LA Times excerpt I'm flagging, here are a few articles that back up my claim that the LA Times sensationalized their coverage of the event. I'm not just telling you this excerpt was inaccurate, I'm also letting you know my reasoning and my sources behind my claim. Once you create your flag, it's signified by highlighted red text so that other readers know to click and expand it to see what the flag addresses, or at least know that there is something potentially questionable about the news they are reading. Soon you'll also be able to comment and upvote other readers' flags and share flags on social media. So I think ultimately there isn't one solution to defeat all other solutions when it comes to media literacy and fake news. Read Flag is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. It's a way to flatten the hierarchy of who gets to decide what is and isn't news while promoting a participatory culture of verification. If you're ready to start flagging the news or to just play around with the extension, I'll be at booth 13. Thank you.